Hey there. I set a goal. How about I'm going to turn this light so it's not shining directly in my glasses. I am Cyndi Thomsen, director, coach, storyteller, owner of Creating a Passionate Life. And I set a goal. That goal was going to start my podcast Friday, February, sorry, July 25th. And it is that day. Oh my goodness. And I'm actually doing it. So let me share a little bit about what it is that I'm going to be doing and why this is the first one of many. So over the course of the last 5 years, I have been working with people, primarily women, who have been struggling with finding joy and connection and flow and all of those wonderful things, all those those buzzwords that everybody has been saying. And so welcome to Creative Connection Podcast. And this podcast, just to give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect, is for anyone who is seeking to have more clarity, more courage, more connection to themselves, more connection to the that they do in their life. And I would start with this for find what I mean by creativity and connection, hence my notes. So welcome to the Creative Connection, a podcast for artists more fully in their lives, just making sure I'm in the right place, in their lives, their work, and the world around them. I, for those who don't know, am Cyndi Thomsen, your host. I am a coach, a director, a storyteller, and a believer in the radical power of authenticity. And I created this podcast as a space for real talk, soulful reflection, and meaningful tools to help you live and lead with your heart and from the heart. So what do I mean by creative connection? Why that title? Well, when I say creative, I don't mean somebody takes out a paintbrush and starts painting. I don't mean somebody takes out their charcoals and starts drawing, although that is possible. But when I say creative, I'm not just talking about that. I'm also talking about dancing, I'm talking about singing, I'm talking about those people that sit in offices or new ideas. They brainstorm, they're thinking, they're trying to innovate something in a particular industry. That's who I'm talking about. I'm also talking about us as individuals and that spark, that little bit of fire that is inside of you. For me, creativity is the ability to bring something new into the world. It's using your voice, your story, your presence to shape, inspire, and simply something meaning. What about connection? Two things are coming together, right? This endeavor that I'm giving, connection is the heartbeat. It's our relationship to ourselves first, to others, our partners, our children, our coworkers, our friends, our neighbors. It's to others. It's also to the work that we do whether it's work that we want to do or that we're called to do or that we think we would like to do, is the connection to that work. Activity grounded. Without connection, it is my belief, without connection, creative expression can feel empty. Without creativity can feel stagnant. And that's what we're going to begin exploring beginning. And in what it is that you can expect weeks, my intention to come live every Friday as close to 5 o'clock to continue down this path of developing the creative connection. We'll talk about visibility. We'll talk about being seen. What does it mean to be seen? And why is that important? Why? Why seen is important? We'll talk about hurt. Why is hurt? We'll also talk about it and how all these come together, and that's the space we take up in the world. And are we shrinking and seen and not being heard because we will. I do have a free gift for you. It is 5 ways to creativity, and I'll share more about that as we get through today's episode. So I'm going to start off with my why. So when I was in college, I was a theater major. I was all gung-ho. I looked and I looked and I looked all across the country, all across the United States, and where should I go to school? Where was going to be the best school for me to go to get a great degree, experience? Where could I go to get connected that give me I needed to be a professional actor? Almost every single school that I applied to accepted me. And so now it was a decision. Where do I go? Where do I go? And as is the case probably with most of us, when we're trying to figure out where we want to go and how we want to get there, we're going to check the rankings compared to everybody else. I ended up choosing the University of Washington. I happen to be based here in the greater Puget Sound area of Washington State. And I chose that school because it was ranked 4th in the country for undergrad theater programs, and it had a professional actors training program. I thought, great, I can get my MFA too, get my BA in theater, and then I'll apply for the professional actors training program, and then I'll get my MFA. So I moved here into the greater Seattle area and started attending the University of Washington. And it was about the time that the University of Washington was changing from a high-ranking liberal arts school to a school that was going to be more math and computer focused. This was the late 1970s, early 1980s. And 1 year into my schooling, the money started to get cut from the theater program. And I knew I was going to have to start scrambling, either to hurry up and get out of there before all of the teachers and all of the things I wanted to do were released. I was going to have to change my major. And I had to give up on a dream that I had had since I was 10. Now, just so happened that I met someone around that time who is now my husband and has been for 41 years. And I shifted focus. I shifted focus away from that thing I was passionate about and had been pursuing for nearly 10 years. I decided I needed to figure out what to do with my talents and go get a real job. I'm just going to let that sit with you for a moment. And while it does, I want you to consider yourself. Are you doing what you love to do? And I don't mean you like it, it pays you well, you enjoy it, you like the people you work with. I mean, is it the thing that springs you out of bed in the morning and you want to go do it? You feel connected, invested, you're passionate about it. If you're not, why not? If you some days are, on those particular days, what is spurring you on? What are you doing that helps you be spurred along? My guess is it's a connection to something that you're doing that you are passionate about. So when I started my coaching business 4 years ago, I named it Creating a Passionate Life. I did that because I wanted to help people create a life that they were passionate about living. And it is my belief that when we start to lose the passion in our life, we lose our connection to ourselves. We lose our connection to the people around us. And what happens when you start to lose that connection is you start to lose some of the things that are at the center of your being, your flow, and what I like to call the creative spirit. The spirit that helps you create forward momentum in whatever you are doing. Whether you are a CFO, a COO, a CEO, a president, an entrepreneur, an employee, in any of those, if you lose the connection to why you're doing what you're doing, your energy starts to drain, as does your creativity. So I have seen over the years hunger from other performing artists like myself, from leaders, from business owners, from women in transition, from men in transition. I've seen the hunger for life drain out of people, including myself. And I am so happy that I made the decision during the pandemic, 2020, that I did not think I could continue doing the work I was doing at the time. It was going to kill me. All of the life was being sucked out of me, and I needed to find a connection. I started talking to other people and started on a journey, first of all, on meditation, and then on presence, and then on storytelling, and then on connecting communities with stories. Then I went, you know what? This I'm passionate about. At the same time, unfortunately, a good friend of mine who had started a community theater was diagnosed with a brain tumor and ended up passing away. But prior to his passing, he said, "Tag, Cyndi, you're it. If this theater is going to continue, I need someone like you to curate it. I need you to go out and find the people that will play on the stage and behind the stage and in the music pit. I need you to find the people that are hungry to create theater. It was all around this time that spark in me was reignited. So I have my own personal definition of what creative means, and I'd like to share that with you. If it resonates with you, great. To be creative is to use your voice, your gifts, your talents, and ideas to make something meaningful. Whether it's art, a solution, a conversation, or a movement. I invite you for a moment to think about that. I'll read it again. And I had written it down because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget any of the words. To be creative is to use your voice, your gifts, your talents, and your ideas to make something meaningful. Whether that's art, a solution, a conversation, or a movement. I want to invite you to claim your creativity, even if you don't think of yourself as creative. Perhaps my definition can help you think of yourself as a creative. So I want to go one more level on the idea of connection. One of my very first clients when I started my coaching business was a person that was struggling with the decision to retire. Now, I was a little taken aback by that. If you had worked for 25, 30, 40 years in one industry, and this particular person had worked for a number of years in one industry, wouldn't you want to retire as soon as you could? The challenge was this particular person had no idea what would bring them joy after they walked out the doors of their place of employment for the last time. This person was not in a relationship with a significant other. This person did have children, but this particular person really wanted to travel and didn't have a travel buddy. There were things that they did that in the moment they were happy, but then they were going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. There was a lot of self-doubt. Sometimes there was hiding. And while this particular person didn't tell me this, I think there was a level of burnout for them as well. And I have met several others on my journey of coaching that they are not connected to the people that they really love life because they're hiding, they doubt. So one of the things I want to promise you with regard to this podcast you come home to yourself and build a meaningful relationship with you as my audience. I saw your work, whatever it is. Maybe it's a career that you've been in for a long time and you really, really, really enjoy that career. Or maybe it's the thing that you dream of doing, but are doubting yourself as to whether you can do it or not. So I want to help you find a meaningful relationship with your own truth, your own voice. Reclaim or claim your voice and purpose in the world. So today I'm on here by myself, mostly because I want to delay the groundwork, but I anticipate having guests. I anticipate having my husband on board. I anticipate having writers on board, coaches, actors, singers, dancers, entrepreneurs. I anticipate having others on with me where we'll have a conversation about the creative connection, whatever that means for them. You can expect real talk, real reflection. I will provide tools, practices, and invitations in the weeks ahead. Sometimes, like today, it may be a little messy because it's the first time. I also didn't want to have a full-on script, mostly because I wanted to be real with you. You know, one of the scariest things I ever did in 2022, I was participating in the Hearth. It's an organization out of Southern Oregon, the Ashland area, that was founded by Mark Yanconelli. And I took part in the certificate for community storytelling. And the idea behind that certificate program was to build up communities through stories, sharing stories, listening, becoming connected to one another with our similarities and our differences. Well, during that time period, I also started to write a book. And I'm going to go backward in time a little bit. When I was a freshman in high school, I wrote my very first short essay, and it was to be read in front of the class. And I was a little scared about it because I'd never written anything. I've read lots of other people's things in front of people at that point in time, but I'd never written anything and read it. And I read it, and I thought I had done a good job. It was actually about my dog, who I had the previous summer had to put to sleep because he was old and he was sick. And when I got that paper back from the teacher, there was a great big huge F on that paper, along with the comments that said, "You will never be a writer." So when I started writing my book back in 2022, around the same time that I was doing this community storytelling class, I went, this will never be published. It's never going to be good enough. I'm not a writer. Well, it's going to be published. It's done. I have a book designer that's creating the cover. I have people that are endorsing it, some of whom I would like to have on this show. And what I have learned through the process of writing that book is that what someone else says you can or cannot do is not necessarily true. And life is messy. And on our path of creating a life that we're passionate about living, we have to experience the mess before we get to the magic. Because the magic is in the mess. Your connection to self is in the mess. And the creativity is the magic that comes out of the mess. So my invitation to you this week is to go to, and I'm going to put the link in the chat. And for those of you that are watching the replay, I believe this will be in the chat. But if for some reason please go to or email me. Go to my website, which is Cyndi, Cyndi, THOMSEN.net, and send me an email or a connection that those the landing page for you to go and grab a copy of the 5 ways to live more creatively. And I'm hoping that this is going to post there. Control V. There we go. And like I said, if it doesn't show up in the chat, please go to my website, Cyndi Thomsen, CYNDI, THOMSEN.net. And I'm going to put that in here as well. Or you can always email me. And my email, I will try and put in the chat as well, but I'll verbally give it as well. And that's Coach. So Coach, COACHCYNDI at CyndiThomsen.net. And what you're going to get with this 5 ways to live more creatively, and I'm just typing things in the chat here, so I'm a little distracted. Sorry about that. Is 5 quick, easy ways for you to re-spark some energy, some creativity, some connection to yourself. I will also be sending you 3 follow-up emails with some other tips along the way as well. The 5 tips are simple but powerful practices to bring more creativity and connection into your day for yourself. Because if we can take care of ourselves, then we're better at leading our teams. Maybe you want to write a song, or maybe you want to write a book, or maybe you simply want to try and stay present. That's what these 5 tips will give you. So to do that, you're going to go to the link that I put in the chat, or you can go to my webpage and send me a quick note, or you can email me. All 3 links are in the chat, I hope. Maybe I'll go back and I'll look at the YouTube later, and if the links aren't there, I'll add them in the description. And then I want to give you an invitation to come back next Friday, right around 5 o'clock. And the topic for next week is the art of being seen, why visibility isn't vanity. And, I have had many people say to me, oh, I don't know, people think my ego, whatnot. No, they won't. That's not, you're in your head. I learned a long time ago, and maybe you can relate to this, that other people really don't care about you. They care about themselves. I guess that's probably why I was able to move forward and actually say, you know what? I'm going to go live. It may not be perfect, but I'm going to go live. And I did. So I'm hoping that that even if it's one little nugget that you listen to today, I hope you got something. And that would be for you who might be live with me right now. And if you are, go ahead and say something in the chat. But if you come back and you're watching this later, please say something in the chat. Yeah, I got that. I really liked what you said. So as you go into this weekend, I want you to think about how you're connected to the world around you. How are you connected to yourself? Here's what I know. You are the most important person in your life. And if you don't take care of yourself, you can't connect to others in meaningful and powerful ways. I want to thank you for giving this a shot, for listening to The Creative Connection. If today's episode resonated with you in any way, shape, or form, I'd love for you to download the free companion worksheet, The 5 Ways to Live More Creatively. You'll find the link in the show notes or in the chat below. And if you're feeling ready to explore how to connect with your creativity and purpose in a deeper way, I'd love to chat with you. You can book a complimentary creative clarity call with me at any point in time. And be sure to follow and subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, The Art of Being Seen, Why Visibility Isn't Vanity. Until then, stay connected, keep connecting, and keep showing up with heart. Thank you so much for being here, whether it was live or on the replay. Have a fantastic day.